Beacon Combat Arena. After Pyrrha wiped the floor with Team CRDL. Glinda, good Ms. Nikos, keep this up and you'll do great in the Vital Festival. Now who wants to be next? Mercury, I ma'am. Glinda, good Mr. Black, pick your opponent. Mercury, I want to fight her. Glinda, Mr. Black, Ms. Nikos has fought 4 people and I likely exhausted. Please pick someone else. Pyrrha was about to object, but Jaune signaled her to concede. Jaune caught Glinda's attention. It must be regarding the student spies. Jaune, I'll take over for my partner. Glinda, as you wish, Mr. Ark. Mercury and Cinder scowled. There goes their plan. Jaune and Mercury leaves to get ready. Mercury came out first. Mercury, so did he chicken out? But when Jaune came out he saw what his father told him to never cross. 10 years ago. Marcus, son in the Assassin's League, there is someone or people you need to avoid making enemies. Mercury, what you mean, old man? Marcus hits Mercury and continues and gave him a piece of paper. Marcus, if you see this or their helmet alone, you know you're fucked. Don't make an enemy of them. No one can win against them. And I mean no one. And I mean no one. Back to the present. Mercury pales, knowing this is one of the people his father warned him about. Glinda, nice of you to join us, Mr. Ark. Now fighters, get ready. Fight. Jaune, knowing this is the enemy trying to get info on potential hosts, decided not to give them to Michigan information on his fighting skills and equipment. With the Vital Festival on, he will no doubt showcase more of what he has. The enemy will be watching. Jaune opted to use the Beskar spear instead. Good thing he never uses the pulse rifle unless it's against Grimm. Jaune launched flurry of strikes, all pointed at vital spots. Mercury, geez, this guy is not screwing around. Mercury replies in kind with a barrage of kicks which was repelled by his vambraces. The battle is somewhat one-sided, but being from an assassin background, Mercury was able to reach the standard Mandalorian level. Jaune, being limited with options, just decided to show a little bit more. He used thermal detonators to stagger Mercury. And it worked, but Mercury was able to shoot Jaune in the chest with his boot. The funny thing, Jaune didn't move, flinch, or affected by the shot, which shocked him. Mercury, what the fuck is that armor made of? Jaune jumped back and began a barrage with his dual blaster pistols. Mercury felt heat as the bolts went through his aura at the same time, took a large chunk off. Mercury looks at the screen. He's already at 50% and rapidly dropping as he heals the burns. Mercury, holy shit, this guy is no joke. No wonder the old fart was afraid. Jaune noticed the didn't react to the shots that hit his legs. Jaune, cybernetics? Jaune holsters his pistols and draws his sword and spear, but Mercury, okay, I give up. Jaune sheathes his weapons. Glinda, Mr. Black, I would suggest you fight harder rather than give up. The tournament rules won't be as forgiving as I am. Mercury waves her off. Whatever. Jaune looks at Glinda and nods. Glinda, well, good luck to you all in the festival. All the students left and Jaune was left alone with Glinda. Jaune, is it mandatory to tell the Academy that a student has prosthetic limbs? Glinda, yes, it comes with their health records and bio. Why? Jaune, what's Mercury's record say? Glinda, all appears normal. Jaune, that's fake. Take a look at this. Jaune pushed a button on his vambrace and showed a video recording of the fight. Jaune, notice he recoiled in pain when I shot him in the shoulder? Glinda, yes. Jaune, now look at when I hit him in the leg. You noticed he didn't react? Glinda, yes. Jaune replayed the scene. Jaune, notice at how much sparks flew from the hit? That only happens when one of my blaster bolts hit metal. Glinda, I'll notify the headmaster. Please continue your investigation. Jaune nods and left the classroom. As Jaune moves to an open corridor and bumps into someone, Jaune recognizes her from the photo in Roman's letter. Jaune signs her that he's sorry. Neo tilts her head in confusion. Jaune gave her the letter from Roman and her eyes widen and grabbed the letter and read it. She looks at Jaune and dragged him to an empty room. She then dropped her disguise. Jaune, so you're the one he cares so much. Neo glares, but nods that Roman has made a better deal than what he had on Cinder. Jaune, stay safe and stay away from that group. My people will watch your back. Neo nods the smiles as she agrees to the terms. Jaune then leaves as Neo happily skips, knowing she and Roman are now free. At CREM dorm room. Emerald, way to go, and you're supposed to be an assassin. Mercury, fuck off. He's the thing that even the Assassin's Guild are afraid of. That armor and skill is not for show. He shows them the scorch marks from the blaster fire. Emerald, who in Aum's name is this guy? Cinder, the same individual who derailed our plans at the breach. He is dangerous even more than Nikos. And the way he fights, he was holding back greatly. Mercury, seriously, that was holding back. I got nearly roasted. Cinder, that man is at the top of my list. Meanwhile, Jaune, Lilith, this is a lot I'm asking you, but I think you need to meet your aunts, so how about a sleepover? Lilith bounces in joy. Lilith, sleepover. Jaune looks at his team. Jaune, alright. Who gave her sweets? Pyrrha sweats a little. Nora, OPYR gave her a chocolate bar. Jaune looks at Pyrrha with a raised eyebrow. Pyrrha, she was curious of what I was eating and asked me if she can have some. Jaune sighs, I can't be angry over this, but please refrain from doing it too much, because I'm teaching her discipline, since she is young and impressionable. But when she is of age to make her own decisions, I can't tell her not to enjoy herself. Pyrrha, I'm sorry. Jaune, apology accepted. Lilith looks at her father. Jaune, I'll have grandfather escort you to Argus. Lilith, I'm gonna meet my aunts? Jaune, yes, and you'll meet your cousin as well. Lilith, Meanwhile, Winter, who was that young man? Weiss, you mean Jaune? He's our classmate. Winter is now intrigued and surprised. Winter, you do know he had me and Branwen in a stalemate. Weiss, yes, he is an experienced high-tier bounty hunter as well. He even beat Pyrrha easily like she was a newbie. Winter, can you tell me about his background? Weiss, I will tell you this, some part of his life I made a vow to protect its secret, but I can tell you any common knowledge about him. Winter, I understand, please continue. Weiss, Jaune is part of a secret society of mercenaries with its own independent and autonomous governing system. Winter listens intently. Weiss, Jaune's life was not that different from mine, with only a few key differences. His parents didn't approve of his dreams and decided to intervene. But he continued with the blessing of his grandfather. Now he has a stable lifestyle and caring for a child. Winter, he's a parent and a student? Weiss, yes, and he's 1,000 times a better father than ours. Both of them laughed and continued their chat. Now with RWBY and Young. RWBY, hey sis, do you ever question why we're here? Young, nope, but I'm here to look for something. At the same time at Cheyenne, the scene shows a complete massacre outside the city walls. A large bandit tribe tried to plunder the city and failed. The raid was crushed by the Mandalorian protectors. Bandit camp. Raven, almost all of them. Vernal, yes ma'am, only 8 out, if the 30 we sent out. Raven, and we were just recovering being beat by one man. Then she remembers the man in question she met on that train with her daughter. That man is in Vale, now with Blake. She was trying to research more about the White Fang until a scroll fell on her lap. She looks toward Jaune, who is carrying Lilith. Blake, what's this? Jaune, all the collected information I have on the Fang. Use it wisely and take care of yourself. Blake, thank you, Jaune. So what are you doing today? Jaune, I'm sending Lilith to my sister in Argus with my grandfather. Blake, won't she be lonely without you? Jaune, nah, she's exited to meet her aunts and cousin. Jaune then sent a text to her. Blake checked her scroll. Her eyes widen in shock. The enemy is targeting Vale and the Vital Festival. Blake now know the Fang is greatly involved. Jaune gave her a nod that he's preparing for it as well. Blake now stood to tell her team to keep alert. Jaune then knocks at CFVY's door. Velvet answers. Velvet, oh hi Jaune and Lilith. Is there something wrong? Jaune, I'm sending her to her aunts and artists, so she's going to say goodbye for now. Velvet, aw. And I was expecting to watch over her again. Velvet's rabbit ears droop. Jaune kissed her cheek. Jaune, don't worry, Well, make it up to you. Lilith also kissed Velvet on the cheek. After a long talk and goodbye, Jane and Lilith proceed to the launch pad. Garen was waiting. Jaune, be a good girl now, Lilith, and I might get you a present for it. Lilith, really? Jaune, yeah, promise. And he kisses her on the forehead. Garen, she's in good hands, Jaune. Jaune, I know, and tell them the time is near, look out for the call. Garen, this is the way. Then he and Lilith boarded the bullhead and left for Argus. Jaune then contemplates the warnings Tar told him.